Hello everybody and welcome to today's video. My name is Shonzos and this is Shonzos Plants. So today's video is going to be about propagation. I've got two plants that I want to propagate. One is my verrucosum and the second is my begonia maculata. I am planning to do some air layering on my verrucosum for the first time, and then I'm planning on doing water propagation for my begonia. So today's video is just going to be talking you through me doing these propagations and how I sort of go about them and where to cut on the plant as well. Okay, so I thought we would start off with my verrucosum because I just went to get it from the bathroom where I keep it, and I was going to chop this leaf off and do a air layering propagation for the first time to try it out. I thought it was a good specimen to do it on. However, I've noticed some miniature spider webs on the dying leaf here, and I thought, oh, there's going to be spider mites all over this plant now. And what I can see is these leaves, I thought this had gone yellow because of underwatering. I thought I missed a watering and that's why it had gone yellow. However, there's this strange black stuff on the back of the leaves which I will film with my phone now just so that I can show you what I mean, and I'll also show you where I think the spider mites are. So what I'm going to do now is I am going to cut this leaf off, the dying leaf. That's going to go in the bin outside straight away. The plant is also going to stay on my desk now in a semi-quarantine, and then I'm going to treat the other leaves with alcohol, and then the top two here, they are clear. So the one that's unfurled, that one there, that is clear, and then they've got a new one that you can't see in the frame at the moment, that will be unfurling soon, hopefully. That one is also going to be clear. Normally I wouldn't cut a plant whilst there's a leaf unfurling, but in this case I would rather cut it and stop it from being infected by spider mites and getting worse and having part of the plant survive, than letting it get infected. So okay, I can see that there are definitely spider mites on this plant because I can see them little moving red bits on the little webs. Sorry, when I find pests on my plants I do kind of go a bit blank. So got my secateurs and my alcohol spray, so I'm just going to do 2 sprays on each side of my secateurs to sterilise them. What I might do is I might take it off the moss pole as well in case the spider mites have gone into the moss pole, and I might just wash it, so I'm just shaking these to dry them off. Right, that's dry. Okay, cut it right there. Bye bye leaf. Okay, I literally just took it and just left it on the front path, so hopefully that'll just sort of not infect anything on my way down there. So I'm just going to, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it first because I don't want to jiggle it around and risk any of the spider mites falling onto the plant. So I'm just going to re-sterilise in case anything went on them during that cut, and I'll show you where I'm going to cut now actually. Okay, so you can see now this is the part where I'm going to cut. This here, if it'll focus, this here, that's where the old leaf was coming out of, and what you can see, there's some aerial roots here. This here is a node, so I'm going to cut below it, and then this bit here, so the leaf and the unfurling leaf will then come free. Okay, so I'm going to do the cut. So I've got my cutting now. I'm just going to set this aside. So that cutting will now sort of start callousing over where I've cut it, and hopefully it'll be okay. I'm going to water propagate that one because that's the way I know essentially. So I'm just taking off all of these ties. I am going to take this moss pole away because I do not want to take any chances of spider mites staying in this whole pole. So I'm just going to pull that out now. Wasn't really doing much for this plant at that time, so I'm just keeping everything as separate as I can. And now I'm going to, I hate pests. Hate them, hate them, hate them. So now I'm literally going to drench it with this stuff and hopefully it won't kill it too badly. But it'll kill the rest of my... Right. So when you spray alcohol on your plants, it's really important that you do not let it see any direct sunlight because it will burn the leaves. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to wipe off the brown bits, and I probably will respray that bit to try and clean the leaves up and make sure that there's the least possible spider mites left on it. So I've just got some kitchen roll and I'm just going to wipe it gently. I hate missing pests. I feel like really guilty when I find that I've missed some pest infestation, but I think it's because I'm not used to having the amount of plants that I do have. So I'm going to go through the motions of understanding how to deal with pests, and I've realised that I'm just going to have them all the time, you know, on one plant or the other, and that I shouldn't really stress, that I should just kind of just know that that is part of keeping plants. It's part of the challenge, I guess, of keeping plants, and that it's just something that you have to take with it and learn how to sort of cope with having them. I'll be honest, this bottom leaf here isn't looking its best, but it's just, oh, I just love the verrucosum. It's so cute. Also, I just thought then I probably should have used a new piece of kitchen roll for every leaf to try and save each leaf separately, but I didn't. I'm just gonna clean the bits out here. What is that? Ooh, it's an aerial root that's gone fuzzy. So I've only recently realised that aerial roots go fuzzy when they cling on to something. I normally wouldn't remove these things, I just am, because I don't want anywhere for the spider mites to sort of live and hide away. So I'm just sort of removing anything. And there's, ooh, there's a little growth point here, so I wonder if that'll develop. So I'm just going to give it a quick spritz again. Right. If that's not a sterilised plant, I don't know what it is. So I'm hoping that'll do quite well now. Okay, so I'm going to put this aside now, and now we're going to deal with the cutting. I am now going to just inspect the cutting, so that's why the frame is this low, so you can see what I'm doing. So here's our cutting. Got a leaf unfurling. Again, preferably I wouldn't have done this whilst that was happening. And just because of the spider mites, I am going to remove these crusty bits to try and avoid at all costs any spider mites being on this plant, because the last thing I want is for the cutting to be infected and for that too. So I do see some spider mites on this plant. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it into the shower and I'm going to shower it completely. This room stinks of the alcohol spray right now. Okay, so this has been completely drenched in the shower, and what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to leave it on the side to dry. Just going to pop it in a little dish here for it to dry. So I've just popped it in a dish to dry, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to my begonia. I'm just going to wash my hands thoroughly, make sure that there's no spider mites on me, and I'm going to start working on my begonia whilst that callus is over and dries off. Okay, so here I have my beautiful begonia maculata. I really love this plant, but I want it to be more bushy than just tall, and that's how it's growing at the moment. And since it's spring, it's the perfect time to do some propagation, so I thought I would take some cuttings and try and root this plant as well. So I think I'm going to take one cutting, just so that I have nice cuttings to take. Again, sterilising my secateurs. If in doubt, I always just sterilise them. Better safe than sorry. And I just shake them so that the alcohol evaporates a bit quicker. And this one is actually struggling a bit. I don't know why, but the ends are getting really crispy. I'll try and show you right now. You can see it's a bit crispy. It's not quite in focus, but I'm not exactly ecstatic on how the leaves are looking. But I can't see any pests on it, so it might be well, the soil is bone dry, so it might be because I'm not watering it frequently enough. So I need to give that a good watering today. Right, so these are all good to go, and there. So I've taken this cutting, and the bit that will propagate is here, so roots will grow out from there, and we'll hopefully get a nice little plant from that. So I can take the stake off this plant now, which I was using to support it since it was getting quite top heavy. And what's good about doing little cuttings like this, so now the plant is a little ditty one, is that this will also encourage it to branch out again, make it more full, make it more bushy. And what you can see is I've actually chopped a leaf in half there because it was having some weirdness. So if anyone has any idea what's wrong with this plant, please let me know. I do think it's just me not watering it enough. So what I'm doing with the verrucosum and with this begonia is I'm going to be doing some water propagation, and due to one possibly having the spider mite infestation, I will be keeping them separate. So this one I will be rooting up in a separate jar to that one. Okay, so it's been a couple of hours since I did the cuts and I put some powder on top of them. Oh, this is actually quite funny. The powder's just full on fallen off of the stem right now because it's all dried up. Unfortunately, the camera will not zoom in on the stem that's calloused over, but basically it just shrivels up a little bit at the end and it goes hard. And that's when you know it's calloused over. It's a really good idea to let them callus over to minimise the chances of rot as much as possible. So what I'm going to do with this begonia now is I've got a little jar of water. It's actually an old candle. And I've put 2 elastic bands across it just so that I can hold it in place. So what I'm just going to do now is I'm just going to pop it into the water. And as you can see, it's just the nodes under there. So I'm going to let that chill and we'll hopefully get some roots growing. And I'm going to do exactly the same with the verrucosum, just in a slightly bigger jar. Okay, so that is today's video, guys. I hope you found that enjoyable and you liked seeing me doing the propagations. Really unfortunate that I found some spider mites on that verrucosum. I'm really gutted about that, but I will hopefully get rid of them and we'll have a healthy plant again and the propagation will be successful, fingers crossed. I can update you guys in a future video on that if you would like, or stay onto my Instagram at Shonzos plants for any updates on that as well. So yeah, give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it and subscribe for more planty content. Bye!